So this is one of our graphs that we've done already. This was the one on the blue paper, the 1 over x graph. It gets translated 3 units to the left and 2 units up. Notice this question's not asking you to graph it. It just wants you to write the equation of the image graph. So this is my parent graph, y equals 1 over x. We have to think what's inside the function, what's outside the function. And for the most part, I want you to be able to do this directly. So if you went right to writing what the new equation would be, then 3 units to the left, well, that would show up where the x is. And then the 2 units up would be outside the function and show up afterwards. So by now you might be starting to feel like I'm getting comfortable with this. I can see how that's happening. But sometimes you're going to get, and I think there's one coming up in the homework, that the equation's kind of different and kind of weird. And if you're feeling uncomfortable with what's happened, then one way that you can show your work is to go to function notation. It's a little bit extra work, so I'm going to start off by calling my parent function by f of x instead of y. And then writing out the left and up is always really easy in function notation because the left happens inside the function, so that's going to be x plus 3 inside the function, and then the plus 2 happens afterwards. Notice that when I write function notation, there's no 1 over. Right? If my function was x squared, there's no squared that shows up. That whole function is showing up by having function notation saying f of something. Now, how a function works is, here's my x. It gets replaced with that x. So now I have x plus 3. So if I wanted to just take now and write that out, that means that where my x was, I replaced that with x plus 3. Sometimes people like to put brackets around that just to feel more secure, and that's what I plugged in for that. And then finally, I have plus 2 at the end. And notice that's the same equation we got directly, but if you're ever confused, and I think it's either 14 or 15. 15. So when you try, so the questions that we're doing for this one, 12, 13, 14, and 15. The equation in 15 is a little bit different because it has absolute values. It has an x squared. It's got another number. So it's just not your standard kind of equation. And so writing your new equation, that might be one that you make a little mistake on. This is where I would suggest if you get it wrong when you try to do it directly, try it again with function notation and see if that helps you. Oh, wait, I'll give you some time to work on that right now.